Hello, my name is Elizabeth Wales, and I'd like to share with you today some of my journey to fitness and wellness. Today, I'm a personal trainer. Today, I have my bachelor's degree in health education. Today, it is my passion to help others achieve their goals, as well as to achieve new goals for myself. The reason why I have gone down this career path is because of my journey to wellness and fitness, which I'm going to share with you tonight. My journey started when I was 12 years old. When I was 12 years old, my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer. By the time that they had caught the cancer, it had progressed quite far. It was stage 3B, almost stage 4, which is the worst stage of cancer you can have. Because it was in her lymph nodes, it was possible for the cancer to spread anywhere in her body through the lymphatic system. My mother decided that she was going to fight for her life with every means possible. My mother had 4 children at home, and when she got the diagnosis of her cancer, she was determined to fight it, and she did. She had a mastectomy. She underwent chemotherapy, and she underwent radiation. As my mother underwent chemotherapy, one of the many unpleasant symptoms that she had to endure was her hair falling out. As her hair fell out, she decided to just shave it all off instead of having it fall out slowly. And my older brother and my younger brother, to support her in her journey, decided to shave their heads too. Now, I wanted to support my mom in her fight against cancer, but I thought that shaving my hair was going to be a little bit extreme. Luckily, I thought I had another option. Along with doing the conventional treatment for cancer, my mother also decided to do everything she could on the natural side. She did a lot of research and heard a lot of stories of people who sent their cancer into remission through diet and through improving their food choices. So I thought I'd do that with her. What we ended up with was a vegan diet. No animal products, fairly low fat, as most fat that comes in our diets is through animal products. It was fairly low calorie. You can only eat so much fruits and vegetables and grains, beans, legumes before you're full. So it's fairly low calorie. And I was very active. Throughout junior high and high school, I was running every morning. I went about 2.5 miles out and 2.5 miles back, about 5 miles every day. And a lot of that was because I was in martial arts. And it was becoming a passion that would inspire me even until 20 years later. At first, being vegan was wonderful. And my mother and I, when we first started cutting out all the animal products, it was difficult. It was a challenge for sure. Changing how your taste buds react to certain foods and acquiring new tastes. But we felt wonderful. We had more energy, and we weren't getting sick when other people got sick. We were just like always wanting to be active. We felt great. We were telling everyone else, you've got to stop eating all of that animal products. All those animal products are going to kill you. You've got to be vegan. Vegan is the way to go. Oh man, we preached it. And we were constantly educating ourselves with regards to how important fruits and vegetables were in the diet and how many vitamins and minerals there are in fruits and vegetables. We were true advocates of veganism because we really believed in it. But feeling wonderful on the vegan diet didn't last very long. After 3 years of me being on the vegan diet, I started having some different results. These included a weight gain over BMI standards. And remember, I was still very active and still eating a very restricted diet. I had extremely low energy. I remember having fatigue in the morning and fatigue in the evening and being exhausted by the time I went to bed. And I was in high school. I lost muscle. You wouldn't be able to see I lost muscle because of the weight gain. But I knew I wasn't as strong. And in my athletic capacities, this was extremely frustrating, as I would work out and eat the best that I thought I should be eating and still not be getting stronger, but instead getting weaker. I started having horrible acne breakouts, and I had amenorrhea. At one point, I stopped my period for a whole year. I had horrible circulation. We lived in the mountains, and as the winter came and it began to get cold, I would have what we would call white fingers, and literally my hands turned completely white, and I stopped having any kind of feeling in them. I would laugh and say, if you need to amputate my hand, now's the time to do it. And then when the circulation would bring blood back into it, finally after getting warmed up, it was so painful. Oftentimes I felt at the point of tears and like I couldn't even breathe. And the longer I was on the vegan diet, the more these symptoms grew in severity. I started being a vegan when I was 12. And I struggled as I believed that this was the best way to eat. As I believed that eating animal products are going to make me sick, eating animal products were going to make me fat, eating animal products were what was going to kill us. I was so strong in my mindset about this that even though my body started to really crave animal products, I denied it any animal products. I truly believed in what I was doing. Instead of listening to my body and my body's cravings and signals for what it needed, I just pushed that aside and bullheaded continued being vegan until I was 19 years old. Finally, when I was 19 years old and I was going to college classes, I started to hear what people were saying about vegan deficiencies. I was in physiology class and I just loved my physiology class. And the professor said offhand, and you know, carbohydrates, they're great for energy, they're great for maintaining, but proteins will build and repair your body. And vegans and vegetarians will say that plant sources have all the protein that you need. And there is protein in plant sources, but in significant amounts, it's just not the same as with animal products. So when you look at legumes, which are one of the main sources of protein in the vegan diet, and nuts, you're looking at a ratio of protein shared with the other two macronutrients of fat and carbohydrate. Whereas in contrast, a can of tuna, 100% protein, guys, 100%. Lean chicken, almost 100% protein. And then things like beef, you can get lean or not, but high qualities of protein. Same with eggs. So finally, when I was 19 years old, I decided to give it a try and add fish into my diet for 1 month. Ever since I was 12 years old, I was listening to vegans say how bad fish could be for you. And there are some fish that are better than others, it's true. But I expected to prove them wrong and show that my health would be worse with animal products in it and not better. When I added fish in that 1 month, I went from above normal BMI to below normal BMI, and I had my weight barely at 100 pounds, which for me looked like skin and bones. It was so bad, I was a preschool teacher at the time, that my boss pulled me aside and asked me, "Elizabeth, are you on drugs?" No, I've just started eating fish. I'm eating some protein. And now, oh, my water weight is going away. So that's what it ended up being. I had water retention because of deficiencies that I had in nutrients that would have balanced the water within my body. Now I looked the way I felt. I had been feeling weak, now I looked weak. Because I didn't have any muscle. It had just been water that had replaced muscle. So here's what I learned through that journey. After adding the fish, I continued to study the topic of nutrition and what's the latest science and research-based best diet since then. And I've developed a omnivore, holistic, and intuitive eating diet. Here's some of the reasons why veganism didn't work for me. These are 7 nutrients that you can't get in their highest bioavailable form from plant sources. Vitamin B12, creatine, carnosine, cholecalciferol, DHA acid, heme iron, and taurine. I'm only going to focus on 2 of these. So when you're getting deficient in vitamin B12, the symptoms include strange sensations of numbness, tingling in the hands, legs, or feet. Sounds a little familiar. White fingers, right? Difficulty walking, staggering, balance problems, anemia, swollen inflamed tongue, yellow skin or jaundice, difficulty thinking and reasoning, cognitive difficulties and memory loss, paranoia or hallucinations, weakness and fatigue. Does that sound familiar? Sure did to me when I started reading the symptoms of vitamin B12 deficiencies and reading about how other people who had been vegan for long periods of time had similar results because of vitamin B12 deficiencies. I started to have the light go on. Here are some of the symptoms of protein deficiency. Number 1 is edema. Edema, which is characterized by swollen and puffy skin, is a classic symptom of Kwashiorkor. Scientists believe it is caused by low amounts of human serum albumin, which is the most abundant protein in the liquid part of the blood or plasma. One of albumin's main functions is to maintain oconic pressure, a force that draws fluid into the blood circulation. In this way, albumin prevents excessive amounts of fluid from accumulating in the tissues or other body compartments. And this poor kid is an example of Kwashiorkor disease. And what happens with these children is instead of holding it inside of their tissues like I did, they start to leak it into their belly where it accumulates and swells. So I essentially had Kwashiorkor with all the swelling and edema from a protein deficiency, a vitamin B12 deficiency, many other nutrient deficiencies. And that was preventing my body from regulating my water retention inside of my body. Gave me edema. Here are some other deficiency symptoms. Fatty liver, skin, hair, and nail problems. Loss of muscle mass. Once I had all the water drained from my body, we could see that I had no muscle left. I was a skeleton. Risk of bone fractures, stunted growth in children. So I was an adolescent when I was a vegan. It was probably one of the worst times that you could be a vegan. It's very important to be getting nutrition from 1 to 5 throughout elementary school, and also very important during adolescence as we start to develop our adult bodies. And this picture is really interesting. This is me back when I was vegan. You can see the water retention in my face. And these are my siblings. And I'm obviously several inches shorter than any of them. My genetics probably would have had me grow quite a bit taller than my 5'5". An increased severity of infections. I've heard of many vegans who came down with horrible, life-threatening infections due to deficiencies, and greater appetite for calorie intake. So here's a picture that demonstrates the difference. This is me after 7 years of being a strict vegan, still trying to stay active, was such a struggle. And here's me now, after over 7 years of a holistic, omnivore, and intuitive diet. Not only do I look better, but I feel a lot better, and I'm able to achieve goals that before were just entirely frustrating and impossible for me to achieve on the vegan diet. Now, something that's said often by vegans, as we talk about deficiencies specifically, we tell vegans, well, you might get a protein deficiency or a vitamin B12 deficiency, and the response is, well, have you seen how many deficiencies non-vegans have? And this is true. People who eat the standard American diet have so many more deficiencies than the average vegan. These kind of foods, these fast foods, are not going to give us the proper nutrition we need. To say that being vegan could cause deficiencies does not mean go and eat the standard American diet. What I like to advocate is holistic nutrition. And Ashley Grange, registered holistic nutritionist, puts it beautifully. Holistic nutrition examines each person on a unique and individual basis to offer recommendations that will help them recover and reestablish optimal health. A foundational principle is that there is no one single diet for every person on the planet. This is so true. While my journey through veganism and being the best vegan I could possibly be did not result in optimal health for me, that's my genetic expression, and there are a lot of people out there who have been vegan for a long time and it works for their body. It doesn't seem to be the average, it doesn't seem to be the norm that the human body can survive and thrive on an exclusively plant-based diet. But that doesn't mean that some people might be able to. I'm surprised every day by hearing what is working for people. So I don't advocate the standard American diet whatsoever. What I advocate, eat like a vegan, eat plants, eat fruits, eat vegetables, yes, eat seeds and nuts, eat legumes, but also eat some fish. Also eat a chicken breast, eat some good quality beef. Have a bunch of fruit for breakfast and an egg. So that way you won't get the vitamin deficiencies that come from eliminating animal products, but you don't want to get the vitamin deficiencies that come from not eating enough fruits and vegetables. To not be a vegan does not mean that we don't eat plants. There are so many different kinds of diets that work for people. This young woman had parents who both had autoimmune diseases. And when they had a child, their daughter Michaelia got the best of both. Or should I say the worst of both? Her story is one full of pain. Throughout high school, she had a horrible, progressive version of arthritis where her bones were disintegrating. And she had to have a hip replacement, and she had to have an ankle replacement. And her father, Jordan Peterson, tells the story of how the entire family, their lives revolved around trying to decrease her pain. So what she did was an elimination process to see if anything that she ate could be removed to help her control these horrible symptoms of her autoimmune disease. And she worked through that elimination diet for years until she came to this. Michaelia Peterson only eats beef and salt. And her autoimmune disease has been controlled, so much so that she has a normal life now. She has a child. That just blows me away. I would not advocate anyone to remove all animal products and be vegan, but I certainly wouldn't advocate anyone to remove all plant products and eat only beef. And yet, For her body, this is practically the only way that she can survive with any kind of quality of life. So we just have to keep our minds open. Here are some takeaways from this short version of my story and my journey to my best fitness and wellness. First of all, the standard American diet is harmful, and it does increase the risk for chronic disease drastically. Eating tons of processed foods, foods that are filled with pesticides and that are genetically modified, does not work with our bodies. We were designed to eat foods in their natural states. Second, any choice better than the highly processed, pesticide-filled, genetically modified items of the standard American diet will improve our health, very likely. So if the next step for you is to be vegan, do it for a short period of time. Give it a try. It's going to be better than the standard American diet. And vegan diets are incredible for improving health and even sending cancer into remission. My mother did do the conventional methods of helping her to treat her cancer. She did the mastectomy, chemo, and radiation. She also became a vegan, and she remained vegan even longer than I did. Her cancer went into remission and stayed in remission. And when she has had her blood work, they say, you have the blood of someone 20 years younger than you are. It's amazing. She blew those doctors away. They didn't think that she could stay on any kind of restricted diet and do chemotherapy and radiation. She did, and she did really well to send her cancer into remission. However, later on down the road, she did start to lose her eyesight. And for my mom, what she did as her first step was she bought organic chickens, hand-fed them organic grass, and then ate the organic eggs. And she's healthier for it. So the vegan diet is fantastic for a cleanse. Like I said, when we first started, we felt wonderful. Lots of energy, we were getting rid of the toxins, we were shedding any unwanted fat. But then as we continue to be vegan, the nutrient stores that come from animal products depleted, and we had different kinds of negative symptoms eventually. The next takeaway is each body is unique in its ability to process nutrients. Genetic factors can make great variation in the best way to eat for each individual. I will definitely always share where I've come from and why I choose to eat how I eat and how it's working for me. And in average, in my personal and professional experience, eating protein in a high quality and bioavailable quantity has been great for my health and eliminating the deficiencies. But if that isn't working for you, I encourage you to try something like an elimination diet, where your body might react to one food in a way that my body does not, and vice versa. And the next one, for me and many others, eating animal products is essential to maintaining vitamin B12 stores, bioavailable protein, and many other essential nutrients. Finally, and this is the biggest one, we need to work with our bodies and not force ourselves into one way of eating or another. If it doesn't work, keep listening. My mindset was so cemented that the vegan diet was the only healthy way to eat that I ignored my body's signals and cries for other nutrients for way too long. We need to listen to our bodies. We need to be respectful that our bodies know what we need. We need to respond to that. I hope my story adds value to you and your choices to develop a lifestyle to thrive. Thank you.